All right, what's up, guys? It's a little different today for the video. I'm going to try to talk at some point, but I won't be able to, most likely. All right, what's up, guys? A little bit different video today. I put up a short of me using what I have as like a hack squat, pendulum squat. It's by far the most viewed piece of content that I have and most interactive one with. So I thought that maybe I'd explain like basically how I came up with the setup. It's pretty simple, it's pretty basic, it's nothing crazy, but just kind of what my thoughts are with it, kind of how I put it together, whatever. When I was trying to build my own garage gym, I was always trying to find like new and weird ideas. I could never really find anything fully, or somebody that really broke down how they made this work or this or that, or how can you get around this type of stuff. So I did not and could not buy like a hack squat machine or anything like that, or like a full pendulum squat machine. This I think is like a good middle ground between the two. I thought this was what I think is a very good alternative to a hack squat, a pendulum squat, and even kind of a leg press in a way. If you just want to talk, talk about like the mechanics of it. Now it's a little different. The loading is going to be on top of you, but the range of motion, I feel like you can also mimic like kind of a leg press in a sense, but that'd probably be more to like a pendulum squat. But I kind of want to just break it down, how I set it up, how I did everything. I'll probably even try to include some of like where I bought it from. Everything I pretty much bought anyways was on Amazon. It's pretty cheap stuff. I tried to not spend a bunch of money on it. Again, I'm somebody that has a wife, I have kids, I have responsibilities outside of lifting, so I was not able to just blow a bunch of money on my home gym. So I wanted to make the things work with what I could, for one, afford, and for two, just made sense with the blueprint of my gym. And my gym has grown in size as I've changed from a small room in my basement to a bigger room in my basement to a second half of a garage, and now I'm taking about half of an even bigger garage at our new house. So as my gym has grown, I grow more stuff, but I still want something that's like compact and out of the way. I don't want to have big machines that are clunky and take up a lot of dead space I'm only going to use once a week. I really like this. It's compact. As you guys can see, it's 3-4 pieces. It all sits back in here. If anything, the only thing I have to do is put my SSB bar down to have movement for it. Pretty much it. Super easy, super simple, super compact. So I just kind of want to break it down, where I got everything, how much they were, how I put everything together, give you guys some options, even talking about how we're going to use this and utilize it within like a program, whether it be for like strength or even like hypertrophy. So but yeah, let me give you guys some close-ups of it and we'll go from there. All right, first piece I want to talk about, because it's probably the most unique, and honestly I feel like you could probably get away with changing this out for kind of anything as long as it serves the same purpose. So this was a dumbbell rack that I bought on Amazon, and honestly I didn't like it. With the dumbbells that I have like the rubbery like urethane dumbbells, and I did not like how on the rack, for one, the gaps between didn't seem to really fit the dumbbells that I had well, and having my dumbbells, I could only fit 3 across on it. I wasn't able to get like two pairs on like each level. I didn't like that. I have some bigger weights as well from like the rock weights, which is the ones the cases that you pour the concrete into. Those also were not able to fit the way that I would like everything to have fit. So what I did was I just took the rack. Now I had access to a machine shop at my work, so it was really easy. They were able to take these L brackets. I took everything off and take these angle irons and cut them down and cut new holes for me. It was super, super cool that happened. But even if I didn't make it shorter, I still think this would have worked. Or, like I said, this is something that you could figure out something else. And I think this is where you got to be a little creative with it, because all I wanted this to do was to be a platform. So for this to work, I could never find a good way to prop it up on something, to hang it from something, to do anything like that. The only other ideas I ever really had was to hang a chain from like the ceiling with hooks and to hook it. That way I had good range of motion. But this does really well as long as we are like keeping ourselves within a box in a way. So this I just use kind of like as a stand pretty much. So like I said, if you found something that serves the same purpose, it's fine. But the pad itself kind of like rests on here. I'll show it when I get everything on. But it sits on top of here. It allows me enough to where I can position it the right way, the right angles and whatnot, and I can get underneath the pad and come up. Now, the only downfall is I'm not able to go any lower, and if I were, I'd have to like chop this down and stuff, and I really don't feel like doing any of that. But it works really well. Again, I keep myself in the box of like what it's for. I'm not trying to get like full squat work out of this, but it is a great like little tool and accessory to have. So as long as you got something to keep the pad up, you could use it the same way that I did. Unless there's a better idea, and if you have it, please comment what you guys have come up with. But to have something that will secure the bar and like the Viking press pad on it too. So, but yeah, this is kind of what I came up with. That was a pretty decent idea, and it works extremely well for what I particularly want it to be used for. There are a lot of downfalls to it, but again, I don't have any better ideas. If you do, please let me know. And maybe I can try that out too, and then I could do a little update on the video on some different ideas that people have that they came up with to also kind of make maybe the setup work for them as well. All right, next I got this guy right here. This, I believe, I'm going to put it on there, but I believe this is just like a Viking press from Amazon. It was mostly used to put the pads on your shoulders to grab the handles and just press forward or whatever. It does have in the ad that you could use it for kind of the purpose that we're using it for. However, it doesn't obviously have any like clue or indicator like how to use it, what's a good way to use it, how to position everything, whatever, which is why I kind of came up with this. And like I said, couldn't really find anything better, but this I think is great. I actually really like this pad itself and how everything is. The only thing I will say, and it's not because of this, but it's because of the bar. So if there's a better bar out there, that'd probably be the only thing to make this better, is when you put weight on. Another reason why I wanted like this type of stand, something that had a pretty decent footprint on it in both directions to give it a bit of sturdiness. If you put weights on one side, it will tip. And if you put weights on the other side, then it will tip back and forth and whatever. So you almost have to load them both at the same time. If you don't have something like this, if you're only supporting it in the middle. But with this, it kind of solves it because the way I'll put it on, I'll show. But the way I put it on is supported. It's that way when you put a plate on it, it just kind of rocks like half an inch to the side, rocks half an inch to the other side, that's it. But I've been able to put 4 plates on each side of this before with this, and it holds up extremely well. I don't remember what the weight is actually rated for. But like I said, 4 plates on each side held up fine, wasn't weird or cricky. I never heard anything at all. So thought this was super good find on Amazon. There's a bunch of different ones, different brands and companies, whatever. At the end of the day, I just wanted something that the weight could go on the sides and that had some pads to go on my shoulders, on my back, in some capacity, and that's pretty much it. So, but yeah, I'll put this in. I'll put it up on the screen. I'll put even like maybe I'll even put like the links to all this stuff for it. But again, none of the stuff was crazy expensive, fairly cheap for the most part, but that's the most basic part of the whole setup, and the only part that really I use it for pretty much the purpose that it's described as. And these are just like a T-bar setup. They have like a swivel head on them. They're mostly for like your rack, you pin them to your rack, stuff like that. They have other landmine setups you can do. It's like it's at the bottom of your bar. It has like a little ball. You can throw in the corner of your rack, whatever. These are ones that bolt to your rack, and I did use it on my rack for a little bit. However, I didn't like the fact that the bar I could not store, and that bar had to take on and off and all this stuff. So didn't really like that. So what I did was I bought these on Amazon, and it's one that does not go into the holes in your rack, but it has these brackets on the back side of it. And it came with bolts and like these clamps. You basically like clamp it onto like your racks. There's one at the bottom, one at the top. It pretty much you just tighten it down so it's clamped and firm. And it comes with some bolts. So what I did instead is I took a 4x4 because I didn't want to put it in the stud. I did this in my basement gym. I did it in another garage and this one as well. I basically took a 4x4 and I put the bolts. I drilled a hole through the whole way, and then I did one bigger than the threads itself on the bolt, and then I did one a little bigger than the head of the bolt on the back, just so the bolts would actually reach. They were a little too short, but it worked out pretty fine. I just drilled in a little bit on that, put the bolts in. Honestly, I just bolted this to the 4x4 itself, and I ended up getting 2 of them. And I had one at a lower section, and I had one at the upper section. The one at the bottom, this sleeve points up, and this one at the top, the sleeve points down. That way, when I did this, I could do it from different angles. I mean, heck, you could buy 10 of these and put one every inch if you wanted to. You could buy one, you could buy 2, 3, whatever, have one in the middle, one up really high, one down low. I just really like where these were kind of at. Kind of just threw the one at the bottom, really liked it, threw this one up top, really liked it. That's pretty much it, pretty simple. And then the barbell itself, I gotta be honest, I just got this at Walmart, and I got it when it went on sale for like Black Friday. I think I paid like $70 for it. Super cheap. I think it's branded as like an Olympic bar even. I don't really think that it is. It doesn't have the rings for Olympic bars, but not a terrible bar, you know. I think the weight limit on it's like 380, 390 pounds or something like that. I think it was under 400 pounds for this bar. Originally, I had got it just to use it as like a beater bar, and then it kind of just got mounted here. So by far the most, not by far, but the most expensive piece on this entire thing was $70. I think normally it's about like $100, $90, something like that. Just waited, went on sale for $70, scooped it up, and that's pretty much it. So now it sits in here in its collar all the time, and the only time it moves is when I switch it to go to the higher one. That's pretty much it. Threw a hook in here too, just so I can have something to hook the bar on. That way the bar's not on the floor, it's not rested up and can fall down. I have kids that like to play around in here. I don't want them to get smacked with it. Yeah, I mean, and there's a bunch of stuff you could do with this. Like you could spin it here, you could put it lower if like you have another stud over there or something. Doesn't matter. I just wanted something that would secure enough to like hold the bar. Now, if somebody hits it real hard, it's gonna come down. But it's just enough to like throw it over here. It's good. It's out of the way. And again, super compact. All I had to do is add a 4x4 to my studs, anyways, and to my posts on my wall, and that's pretty much it. And then, like I said, this is bolted in the back, so I just ran some lags through here, a couple. That's it. This thing doesn't really move. I used it yesterday, and it was totally fine. Everything honestly is held up, no matter how much reps I do, weights. No matter how rough I am, if it's here, there, whatever, this stuff holds up super, super well for what I'm using it for. And then, yeah, here's kind of the setup with it all together. Have this on the collar, pretty much it. And then it just sits on the stand itself. And really the only parts that's making contact is here, and then as it rocks back and forth, it'll go here. Like I said, you'll throw some plates on, it'll rock to here to the one side. You throw a plate on this side, it rocks back. It sits in the middle, no big deal. Now again, I wouldn't load up 4 plates on one side and 0 on the other, because it probably will at some point tip everything over. But never had a problem with this being unstable or anything like that. This has been held up super well to everything. Like I said, super versatile. I've done a bunch of different exercises with it, or different variations of the same exercise, if you will. But yeah, I really like how this is. Just how the whole setup ended up turning out. Like I said, super compact, super decently easy to put together, easy to throw some weight onto it, great for hypertrophy. I think I can use this kind of for some like strength specific things, but mostly for after squatting. I can use this to really get some more volume in, get some more work on my quads, my hamstrings, glutes, whatever really I want to really pursue with this. So, and again, if you have this whole setup here, I already have a T-bar setup. So I can buy other T-bar handles. I can do some T-bar rows off the ground. I can do a bunch of different stuff. So if you started with this setup first and then added this later, that'd be great too. If you started with all of this, then you know that you can add more handles to the bar. You can do some rows and this and that and different things, and you kind of have some different options with it. So, but yeah, this holds up super well to whatever you need it to. And then, I'm going to show some different variations here or there, different things I've came up with, different things I've done, but nothing too crazy. All right, super simple for the most part. I mean, even with some plates on here, anything like that, kind of just get underneath the bar, get yourself started. I do kind of like the aspect of, you're kind of started at a negative. You're already at the bottom. So you can kind of set yourself up here. And you can put your legs close together, farther apart, whatever. And all you're doing is driving forward. Like I said, coming down, it does restrict the range of motion. I'm not going to be able to go like super deep with it. But like, if we're just going on a strictly hypertrophy like aspect, this is something that I can sit here and touch and go and keep tension on my quads, my hamstrings, my glutes. I've put even mats underneath the back of my heels, so you're kind of squatting more like this, really driving your knees forward with it. even with it up on the upper portion, you know, this one, as you squat, you kind of come backwards a little bit more, you know, you're kind of coming like at an angle, and with the top one, it's kind of coming more like you're going more forward with it. But I think both are great, you know. I think that having this set up is just an easier way for me to get direct work on my legs, more volume, you know. I don't have a bell squat yet. I'd like to get like a rack set up for a bell squat, but super easy way for me to hit more direct work when it comes to stuff without using a barbell directly on my back. You know, kind of gives it a little bit, my back a bit of a break because the loading is a little different. Like I said, I can load 2, 3, 4 plates up on each side, holds up super well, and I'm able to do 10, 15, 20 rep sets with something like this. You know, like I said with the leg press, I think it's similar to leg press, not on how it's loaded, but just the fact of like the range of motion is very like just a lot of this some of the times. And I can kind of adjust this, you know, I can scoot this a little farther away. I can bring it a little tiny bit closer. It'll adjust the angle a tiny bit. But I'm able to like really just like focus on driving my legs like you would in a leg press, which is why I really like it. And like I said, it's not so much of a hack squat because I'm not coming at this like perfect angle. It is more like a sweeping motion, more like a pendulum squat. But I'd say it's between the three of them, at least in how, you know, how it all comes together, how it's loaded, how you can use it, you know, where you're focusing on, stuff like that. But yeah, I thought I'd do a video breaking this stuff down. Again, guys, this is not a lot of money. I'll put the total up as well and how much all this costs. I wanted to find a decently cost-effective way that was compact as well, because I didn't want to just blow a bunch of money on a giant piece of machine that I'm going to use once a week for like a 2-3 block cycle and then go and try and do some other stuff to get some different stimulus from. I didn't want to have something dead like that. So, and again, all this stuff is held up extremely well. This might not be, you know, like the most expensive Viking press setup that you can get. That's not the most expensive barbell. It's not the most expensive T-bar setup, you know, for your racks and stuff. This rack for the dumbbells that I kind of makeshift and you could do your own thing with no matter how it works. You know, these are not the most expensive things, but I'm using this for myself. This only gets used once a week, like I said, for about maybe 2 blocks, and then it's going to sit for a while. I don't need it to be commercial gym ready. It doesn't need to be the same quality as a commercial gym, at least for me. And I can handle a decent amount of weight. I beat this stuff up pretty well. And I didn't feel like I needed to get something that could last in a commercial gym to be used 10 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days for years and years and years. I don't need to hold up to that standard. I need this to hold up to, like, I might get like 100, 200 uses out of this thing in its entire life. So quality-wise, price-wise, perfect, exactly what I need. You know, better stuff out there quality-wise. You know, things are going to hold up a little better. If we're talking in a garage setup, a normal garage gym, this is perfect. Quality's great. You know, I thought this was perfect for the amount of money I spent it on, and for what I got. And again, for how compact it is, I throw it in the corner. I throw everything back where it goes. It doesn't take up any room in my gym other than maybe like a 3-foot by 3-foot box. That's it. Like that a lot. So again, yeah, I really just like the setup. I thought I would share this. So if you guys do like, you know, this type of video or anything, please like the video. You can subscribe to my channel. I'm going to post a lot more stuff about like maybe my setup, the stuff that I have. It's a small little gym, but I think I've made very well with this space that I have. I think I've bought things very specifically. I've sought out different items. So maybe I'll post more stuff like this, help you guys as well through that. Again, you can watch any of my videos on like training, any of my shorts. I post a lot of just how my training's going in vlogs, my thoughts on programming, how I program, what I do, all that type of stuff. So if you guys do like it, you can subscribe to the channel. You can hit like. You can comment some things as well. Watch more of my videos. Really helps me out. I just really want to show what a normal garage gym looks like, what a normal garage setup looks like, having to work around things, space, money, different situations, whatever. I kind of want to showcase that, you know. I did not get to build my dream garage gym in a basement and blow $400,000 on it. So I made do with what I had. So if you like it, hit like.